I need to know more about my mum's pension side. But what's your like knowledge on that?
On what
This is news to me.
is.
No, not pension is in terms of like where are you at with it? Like, do you know your, let's say, parents' pensions? Are you aware of it? Or
No, man's
So I know my parents'
Man's
pension.
Man's not really interested in my
Nah.
parents' pension, fam. That's for
I don't
her.
know my parents' pension.
It's for my mum, bruv.
Word.
It's for her, fam. innit?
Dude, that's her business.
Yeah, but I'm saying I had this conversation earlier on, bro. But like, it's like knock on wood. If anything was to go down, like you want to
What
make
would
sure you're
happen
on
to
top.
her pension?
Yeah, because you need to be on top of it, innit? And that was a conversation I had earlier this week, and I didn't think about it myself.
To be
But
honest,
go on, bro.
I was gonna say if your parents have life insurance, like a good plan life insurance, that will cover most emergencies.
I was asking because pension is what you get from what, like the work you've done over time, which is, of course, great. But
Yeah.
You can't be surviving or looking forward to.
because
You're
with the
not
pension's like
looking-
a
You're not looking forward to it, but I had a conversation again with my stepdad, and he was just saying that you always want to stay on top of it for safekeeping because
What,
again,
what
knock
does
on
staying
wood,
on top of it mean, though?
It means so then when obviously she passes and then obviously everything that's going to be on her pension will go down to
Bust
me.
that for you quick.
100%. But that
Her
also
pension or her will?
No, her pension, bro, because that's what he was saying. He was like, you need to know her PPI number. You need to know the details, the documents, and all of that.
I
And I
think.
was like,
Go. Sorry.
and I was like, I didn't know this. And he was like, yeah, because a lot of black families miss out on that. Like, a lot of black families miss out on that. So I was like, oh, word. And he was like, yeah, because they don't know what's entitled to them. Life insurance, we know what's entitled to us. But in terms of the pension itself, we don't know what's entitled to us.
Pension's important. Facts.
Yeah.
I fuck with you on that, like heavy. Like pension's important still because at the end of the day, especially for the older generation, they've been working for years. You know what I'm saying? They've been hustling for a while. So when they do get to that point where it's done and pension is due and they're gonna, how much are they gonna get? Being on top of it is definitely important. So I'll definitely 100%. Do I see it as something where it's like, no, like we got to make sure like everybody gets every red cent? Yes, but to an extent, it's like there's savings that's been happening, that's been going on. Like if anything, some people in some households are taking care of themselves anyway. So not that they don't need the pension, so to speak, but the pension's like a plan. Wherever they give me that, that's cool. You get me? Like I'll fuck with it, 100. Like I said, I'm not disrespecting the pension. I'm fucking with it because that's very important. But at the same time, there are a lot of people that are just either savings or they've got investments that they've got, and it could just be their own property that they have. Where it's like, listen, like when I get to a certain age, I'm gonna patent this where I might sell, buy something smaller, downsize. Now they've got this mad amount they can just live off. Like there's a lot of people with those plans.
There's a lot, and I feel like I want to speak for those who don't have those plans. You know what I mean? Because the reality is not everybody's fortunate, especially in this climate now, to have those kind of plans backed up by them, innit? So I'm just kind of speaking for people who don't have that necessarily right now. And even necessarily people who just have no clue on what's going on for their parents' side of things, innit? Like, I don't know what's entitled in the house. So obviously, the house is under my mum's name and other situation. But, like, it's not just her name, but that's under it. But it's also down for me to know because, knock on wood, I don't take into consideration. But what happens to the house when she's gone? What I do not know. You know what I mean? So it's these small things was like, oh, the man isn't aware of these things. Because even under the house, like, do you know what's also in contract? Because it's necessarily, whoever's also paying the most, or let's just say joint, your mum's or your dad is probably paying most in the house. God forbid something was to happen to them, where would that leave you? Are you aware of this? Are you on top of the things that's also entitled towards you?
Bars.
And stuff like that. You know what I mean?
And the reason why I say bars to this year, because in black households, naturally, money is a niche. Like money is not a niche. Money is taboo. No one really talks hush. Like, listen, man, like, don't worry yourself. It's big people business over here. You get me? Or this is my business or whatever. So sometimes, and I can vouch, in a white household, shit's done different over there. The man I said, yo, you get me? This is, they're open with it. It's so open, it's nuts. Because in a black house, it's not necessarily as common where it's like, no, I know how much this is here. I know what's going to happen at this point. This is what's going to happen here. So then that, for when you say this, it's like, damn, no, I hear you on that, because there's a lot of families that are probably going through you know what, I actually don't know what's going to happen if that happens, because we don't really think about it or talk about it ever, because that's not a conversation that we're going to have, because I'm not going to be in my mum's business or my dad's business or whatever, for example, so to speak. So it's a good point to raise, and I feel like it does need to be addressed. And if you are someone that feels like you don't know what your situation is with your parents or your mum or your financial situation, when that goes left, maybe you should bring it up. Maybe you should be like, yo, mum, like, so what's the plan? You get me, car? I need to know. Because I think, did I tell the man? I don't know if I told the man that before, but let's just say I'm the favorite child. Let's just say that.
Are you though? Why you look at me like that, fam? I don't know.
No, I know it. 'Cause I don't want to tell these lot the mad thing, but
he knows.
Yeah.
You know, basically.
Basically, when shit goes south.
I won't say he's the favourite child, he's just the only son.
No, that's not the way it works. It's not the way it works here still.
I hear you still. I hear you. Because you get me, I hear you.
What do you mean?
I get it.
You're the same.
I'm not saying I'm the same. I'm just saying I'm only son, so I get like treated differently slightly.
No, that's not the way it works here. So the way it works here is like, if you're responsible, because the other two, bro, no, it's not that with these lot. So
okay, I
got a luck of the draw. You get me? It's not even about that. You get me? It's more about, listen, bro. I've shown that I am sensible. So when basically, without saying too much.
Dinner table sour and that.
Yeah, but obviously, like, I'm gonna pattern correctly when the time comes. You get me? I'm gonna do things the right way, the way things are supposed to be. But yeah. Like, I know my situation in terms of that. That's why I talk to the people. Like, listen, if you're someone that doesn't necessarily know your setup, like what happens when that goes, or what's going on, like, try and get aware as quick as you can, because Kofi's right. Shit can go left tomorrow, fam. Like, if you don't know, there are people in higher powers that can violate.
The reason why I speak on this here is because I was actually going to tell you, man, off the pod, but I feel like this is a conversation. I might change your mind and might clap it out, but like. Basically, yeah, Johnny knows. I only just told Johnny about a little situation I've been going through in it, but like, I only now just know the in and outs, like really learned the in and outs. So basically, growing up, we moved to Sydenham like back in like 2004, 2005. So my mum and dad at the time when they were together were under this mortgage called a joint mortgage. So mortgage. I don't know why I keep saying mortgage. Yeah.
It's cool though.
At the time, what they did is that they paid for the mortgage themselves. Between one another. Now, bear in mind, my dad he's moved out since 4 years later after that. So 2004, give that 2008. Now he's not been in the house, innit? Now, obviously, everyone who knows me knows that my mum, it's just being me and my mum under the roof, but she's been paying it since my dad's left till now, innit? And it's only now, bear in mind though, from like, let's say 2008 till, what are we in 2022 now, yeah? And this is what I say is deep, but like, I feel like I'd rather sit in honesty and be real with the viewers and you, man, as well, innit?
100 transparent.
It's been a very, very hard time. And it can also be a hard time financially too, but she's been paying that as a single woman for like, God knows how many years. And he hasn't paid a dime since he left. And not only that, and I can go into the in and outs, but like, he just hasn't proved to be a person, if you're going to claim to be the man in the house and the protector of your loved ones and your children, he hasn't showed to do that at all. And it's proved that. Now, this is where the peak thing comes into it now. So under this house now, of course, yes, there's been money that's made into the house. But my main thing is like, do we want to sell? Do we want to stay for a couple more years? But I'm also now, I've been in the house since I was literally damn near grew up there. At this point now, I'm now a money earner. And I would like to also own a home, or not own a home, but at least I can say I want to put my name in a mortgage. I want to get in the housing market. So why not start from home, which is what I want to do. Bear in mind, this is a joint mortgage now, isn't it? So Dad doesn't live with us. I only have a small rough idea where he lives, but I know he's got his own family in that now. And he's put his own life. He's got extra kids at his age now. He's done what he's doing. He'll probably still do it. I'm not sure anyway. So again, like I said, he hasn't paid anything into the house. Man's been doing it all on the ones. So now we're coming here to end of the term. We're coming here to end the contract. So either we leave or we renew. Only way we can renew though is if we need to buy out the person. and not buy out, but just it's a joint mortgage. So if I want to join to renew the contract, Dad has to come out.
Yeah.
It's a joint one.
Yeah.
This could easily be sorted. Now, this is kind of like the peak thing. It's why it's sad, bro, because, like, he's my dad. And it's not like I'm saying he's someone who has not been there.
Can I ask you, I'm a bit confused in terms of the contract. What's the contract for?
So this is the joint mortgage, basically. So, no, as in, like, we're the end of our term. So, like, we're coming to the end of, like, staying in the house.
Yeah, but you bought the house, no?
No, we didn't buy the house.
So it's a rent.
It's a rent and also the mortgage at the same time, if that makes sense. Because even I'm still trying to understand it myself a little bit. But
Makes sense still.
So with a mortgage, a mortgage might be, for example, let's say a house that says 500k, say it's just a mortgage, You take it out, maybe you're giving a deposit of a certain amount, but you have to pay, let's say it's 500k over a certain amount of years. So let's say it's normally like mortgages are like 30 or 40 or something, something high in it. Let's say, for example, it's 30 years, right? In that 30 years, you will pay off this whole thing in 30 years.
Yeah.
So if it comes to the end of that term, that means you would have paid it off and it's done.
But the thing is,
that's what a mortgage is.
What I know is that rent still has to be paid at the same time.
So it's rent.
I think essentially yes, but the joint mortgage is still there.
So it's probably a joint agreement.
Yeah.
On a rent lease. So
potentially,
period of you signed to pay rent for like 10 years or whatever, innit? And obviously now it's coming to an end. So that means there's a landlord of the house. Do you get me? So either the council owns the house or someone owns the house.
Yeah, but essentially it's like, are you not going to go to an actual mortgage, like actually go in to buy the house and you get a mortgage 30 years, whatever, and you pay the rest of this, like pay it down so it's yours? Yeah. Or are you going to continue renting? Or but it does well. Yeah,
because essentially
you can speak to that
again. It's up to like, and I think it is the renting thing because it's like we're still trying to get extra 2-3 years, but only that's it. Like we're not trying to renew to the point where it's like extra 30 years, like. Especially mom's not trying to stay that long. And of course, she's getting to that age where she won't retire. This is just more for me. Like, she's thinking about her son really and truly, innit? So this is just more like, okay, cool, we can also put my name down in it and I'll be renting it for like the next, 2-3 years. But at least my name's in the house in market. So essentially now we're coming to the end of that. It's literally around the corner at this point. And bear in mind, this is a lot of information for me when I was taking it on. Like, my mum would obviously go back into like riffs or like how your dad didn't do this, your dad didn't do that. So a lot of it was kind of like very overwhelming for me. Sometimes I actually didn't know the point. I was just like, isn't this between you and him?
And I can reason with you on that. And obviously I'm going to let you carry on, but I'm just saying that I can share that same thing of getting a lot of information from your mum. You're like, oh, God damn, like,
I just thought this
I had a long day today, you get me? But you're telling me this, like, this is my problem, you get me?
I thought it was just those two situations.
Yeah,
so
I know what you mean.
Not dismissed it, but I was just like, I hear it, but then what's this got to do with me?
What's this got to do with me?
Until I found out. You know what I mean? Like, and I had a long sit down with like all three, me, mum, stepdad, and it was a real long sit down. I was like, no, this actually has a lot to do with you because you live here as well. So if she ain't gonna get the renewal, where do you think that's gonna leave you two as well? You both live under the house. So then it got to the point I was like, okay, I understand it. So I said basically, and she had to go through a lot of work behind the scenes in it and turn to find other options. But the main thing was you need to get him out so then your son can join. Given the fact that if he's now earning money and he wants to put his name on there, that's the only way. So it was down for me because he's not even trying to speak to my mum. And that's where it gets techie because now it's like I'm the middle person, like the messenger. Because now, again, dad being dad, that's his personality. He say one thing, you chase him upon it, he changes his answers. It's very much of a lie. And I know when he's telling the truth, I know when he's lying. So I know that when it comes down to speaking to my mum on that, I know there's a lot of things that he owes on the side as well, but the main thing is that he's not trying to speak to her. And I noticed that that's just because, it's mainly because he knows that there's a lot of things that he still needs to own up to, but he doesn't want to. So now I'm playing a middleman. Essentially now my job is, I have to now speak to him and say, Dad, look, as your son, the situation is this. I'm trying to get into the market, so I need you to take your name out of it. But now, and this is what kind of like the sad thing about it, I would just put this picture out there for you, innit? If you have your child and you know that you're not living with them, but you know you love them, that wouldn't really be a hard ask. Oh, no, that's no problem, son. I'll take my name out. You can put your name in. The house is for you. Like, of course, I want you guys to live well. But the situation is, and this is what I didn't know, which I had to now re-educate myself on, is that he wants to get bought out. He wants to know how much the house is worth.
So he can get his share of basically what he quote unquote put in.
Which was practically hardly anything.
Yeah.
So he's trying to get that. And then what was shocking, I think a lot of people, even when I was speaking, was like, wow, like, so he's trying to do that. And at first I didn't really understand it because I was like, wait, is that a problem? It's like, well, essentially.
Then I don't think you're renting then.
That's what literally I was about to speak. Because basically, because there's loads of different ways, isn't it?
There's different mortgage plans that you can go
mortgage
on,
plans.
so maybe
and that.
just
So
I think it's a mortgage plan, but I don't think it's a rent. I think it is a mortgage plan.
but even that 10 years is quite short.
Because I think,
Well,
you know,
been more
like,
than 10 years.
But you know when I said like the 500k thing, they may have had something where it's smaller than that, innit? So instead of 500k and you have to pay this over time, just pay this amount and then we'll see what happens when you get there. Maybe they've just paid that amount and it's like, okay, cool, like, so what's up? You're not going to continue. But Mumsy's like, no, it's not that. I ain't really trying to stay there for that long.
Maybe it's a leasehold, not a freehold.
But whatever it is, yeah, essentially it sounds like, obviously when you keep paying into something, you get equity out of it, innit? Like, you're paying high APR, all this type of stuff, innit? So you're paying a lot more for the house than that's actually worth, innit? That's the way these jokes work. It's mad, but everyone gets fucked. But basically, Pops is basically sitting there going, okay, cool, like, you get me? If I've been on this thing for so long, I can leave, but I'm gonna need a check. Which is, of course, like a mad level of greed or whatever. He feels entitled to it, whatever, and like, I don't know the setup. But it sounds like that is the pattern, like you said.
It is the pattern.
Like you said.
It was kind of a shocker for me.
Yeah, he ain't put in over these years, but man's trying to claim a check. It's like, big man. Like, and the thing is, money and family is so fucked, fam.
Well, it was just sad because it's like, at least I can say that I know your character, so I won't expect less. But knowing him, he comes from an angle of like nothing but love for you, and like I'll always love you and all of that. And I'd rather know that if you don't owe me anything, that's the angle. But don't come on this, because I feel like family, of course, yes, you can always say family is family, but it's like don't come on, do some next opposite wayward thing where it's like you might as well just be a random don, because you've literally just allowed yourself to have that title and just say that and know that I'm your son, but your actions are saying a lot more different. I generally had to be on the phone bargaining with this dude how much we are going to be giving him because of the fact that he wants to get money. And I had to really sit there and think, I'm just going to let you know this now though, for real. This is your son. And this is for a lot of people out there in family. If you don't know your family shit, you should stay on top of it, because I'll say this now, yeah, knock on wood. I didn't know his information. Essentially, I'd be kicked out this door. This guy probably take the money out of it and probably even say, you know what, I'm bounce without me knowing. And I had to really be like, bro, am I really debating how much we're willing to give you to get your name out of it? When really and truly, if you say that you're always, obviously it's a personal thing, but it's like, yo, you say you got the love for me deeply, and you say that all of this love stuff and all of that, but it's like your words are so opposite. And it was just sad because obviously I know all the in and outs from the past, but it's just like, that's just a very sad thing.
Yeah.
And obviously that's what I've been dealing with financially. And it's just very, 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 very shit. It's a very, very shit thing to go through, but it's also a thing that made me realize information is essential. And I'm glad that my mom's kept all her documents, so I know what she's on top of. So even if anything was to go worse, I'm on top of it, and I'm still having to learn it now anyway. But this is just a main thing for me anyway, and that's what's been going on for me at home. And again, day to day, you have to wonder what can happen, especially now with the housing crisis and everything. No one's trying to sell, no one's trying to buy houses. Everything's going up now, so it's a lot. And obviously, again, I wanted to share this because this is a real essential information.
Yeah,
I think it's essential for anybody. Probably a lot more people's even worse positions than me, but again, I don't like it, and I don't. Made me really feel really upset and disappointed and sad. But then I had to just be in reality like, okay, well, this is what we've got to do now. At least I know I'm on top of this shit, and what can I do to move forward in it?
Yeah.
But it disappointed me, man. It was a really, really disappointing conversation to be had. And I just, bear in mind, it's not like someone that I don't know. It's someone I do know who just claims to say that they have love for me in a different way, but their actions just disappointed me and showed me in a different light. And it was just sad to see, man.
It's dark. I remember having a conversation on the pod, yeah. This is a while ago. It must have been like last year sometime. And I was speaking to the man and I said, listen, like, family, there will be a time, it might be a time, knock on wood, whatever, but there'll be a time where family will show you something and you'll be like, wait a minute, wait, what? Is this what you're on? Like, over this? And that's family, that's blood, that's bloodline. However close, could be a parent, could be a sister, could be a brother, could be a cousin, could be a distant auntie. And you're looking at them like, but this is me though. This is family. Like, we family. You thought family was going to be 100% for the rest of your life all the time and believe exactly what they told you. And then when that situation does happen where they start showing you certain colours that you didn't expect them to have, it's a shock. It's deep. I'm saddened that you had to go through that and witness it in that way, in that fashion, because that's dark. Yes, okay, cool. This is Pops may not have the greatest relationship with man, but in a time like this, in a way like that, it's like, big man, this ain't even about no other. This is just about man's livelihood, man's living, and you're gonna do it like this. Like, that's a whole nother next thing.
And it was just like, the respect that's installed in us, it's not even in me to be like, oh, like, you're done at it and cuss out and all of that. Even though, if anything, if there was any opportune moment, that would probably been the right time. I could have just done his dance right there and then. But like, man still couldn't come to the fact that man was still having to address somebody who I still used the word dad, but it was like, man, this is the one time I feel like you're not deserving of even me saying this. Like,
I earned it.
Like, if a man wants to call you by your first name, which is not in my bones to do,
God, give it to him.
but like, you know what I mean? And it was
One
just
time.
like, it's just sad, bro, because it's like, there's a lot of kids who also wouldn't know. Like, if my mom didn't go out the way to really, really install this information about this, I would have no clue, you know? Literally no clue. And it would be so peak. It would have been way more peaking than what we're going through right now. And of course, I know these things are there to test you and you always get ahead of it. But man will still sit in it of shock and be like, wow, this is mad. Like, man's shocked. Like, man's so heartbroken. Couldn't fathom, like, the idea of it. But then also knowing that this is a test that man has to go through, but sitting in the fact of like where this is right now. And it's just like, wow, this is really crazy. Because then let's just say now the time was already up. I could have been done out here. Been done out here. You know what I mean?
100, bro. It's sad to hear it, but it's even obviously more sad to even go through and to witness, quote unquote, family switch up on you over money. It's sad to witness. It's sad to witness.
I just think it's just one thing that, just going into this, man, really and truly, is you do yourself a service by knowing everything that goes in and out. So what's going on entitled to you in the house and what you need to know. Because again, like I said, for my mother's love, man, but knock on wood, she didn't sit me down and talk about what's going through, and she wasn't so precise on her documentation and in terms of being so accurate with everything that she takes and keeping a record of this. It would have been a different situation for me and her. And those things are important. The documentation. What year was this? What is it old? Did you guys use a finance company and whatnot? All right, cool. What date that you take this? Did you take this out from? What was old? What's old to you? Because trust me, man, we're owed a lot more, but he ain't paid a dime yet. And
now,
you know what I mean?
When it comes to his payout, where does the money then come from? Do you know where that's coming from? In terms of,
we're figuring it out. We're figuring it out. We're figuring it out along the way.
But is that something that, obviously, listen, bro, you don't have to go deep into your business, but I'll ask the question just for question's sake. Is there a way, because obviously your mum and him was on the leasehold, freehold, wherever it may be, the whole time. So is there something where out of your mum's cut it can come out? And this sounds ridiculous, of course it does, but is there something where it's like, okay, cool, maybe your mum drops out her cut of, you know, like what she's been putting in, and he says, hey, like a 50-50. So he was like, hey, hold that. You hold this then. I won't take that much out, but you hold this from my cut type of shit.
I don't know yet, bro.
If that's a possibility anyway.
I don't know. There's still things that we're working out right now. And you know, it'll be sorted, but it's just not a nice feeling. But it's getting worked out right now, man.
It'll be sorted, man. It'll be sorted. We'll
Yeah,
take
man.
care of it, man. God's gonna be walking with you lot for sure and make sure that comes correct. So I hope I hope that gets sorted out as soon as possible in the best way, shape, or form for you and your mum still, 100%. And if I'm keeping it a buck, don't think like every family member, you love them to bits, but someone will switch up on you. Don't be surprised. It's hard to. I know it's probably hard to hear. It's hard to hear right now. You're probably thinking, nah,
it's definitely hard.
Bugging, bro. But hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey,
definitely hard.
If it happens, don't turn around talking about, nah, man, niggas, nah, bro. Like, you gotta, it could happen to anyone. It can happen to anyone. So you gotta reason with man stuff.
Yeah, man.
Do you get me?
But it's definitely important information. It just taught me again to be on top of stuff like this, which I thought hadn't really nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
It just really taught me to really be on top of things like that. And then realizing that, the things that I feel like, it's not really my concern. No, it's your concern, man. If you're under that house, it's definitely your concern for sure.
Yeah, it's tough still. I've been silent because, it's a deep one, to be honest. If I was in that position, like, you can only talk of what you think you would do until you're in that position.
Until you're in the position.
But yeah, I'm not sure what I would.
Man, I had to catch my breath when I came off the phone, bro. I just really was going to lose it, you know.
Yeah.
And more like just lose it in terms of like sadness and also like, but then anger at the same time, innit?
Do you know it is? Because it's funny because me personally, I don't have no like relationship with like my real dad or something in it since I was young. So sometimes I find it hard to relate when people are talking about, if I'm pops this, but it's like, brother, I don't even know my one. You get me?
Johnny probably think I'll spark him.
Bruv, I have like no like feeling, like nothing. Like you say, my dad, like that's it.
Yeah.
It's empty in it. So like for me, and because of that, I think it's made me a type of way where like I'm fine staying away from like certain people. Like I'm fine being myself, and if you don't like me for that, cool, you get me, because I ain't got no control over why my dad's not in my life or whatever.
Yeah.
But I make it. Camera still.
Yeah, bro. See.
I make it mad important to try and, as much as possible, learn like people's characters. Do you get? So, like for example, you might meet someone, or let's say, for example, not expecting the worst, but you want to know who you're walking with and who you're on with. You want to know the people that's in your life. You get me? And then you don't want to be angry or get angry for like humans being humans. Do you get me? If you believe in faith or have some sort of faith, humans naturally like sin. Do you get? Like it's naturally in them to like do bad stuff. So when family or not, when people do things that hurt you, it's hard, but you have to try to look at it from a point of like, you know what, they're just being human. That's their natural character that's coming out. Do you get me? And then you use that knowledge in terms of how you treat them and how you relate with them. Do you get me? Because one thing you're never going to be able to change is your dad's your dad. My dad's my dad. Your dad's your dad. That's something you can never change. But the way you, like the level you keep them with you or how you let them affect you, that's something that, as hard as it can be, you can learn to control that. Do you get me? So you can get to a point where, again, just say like a random situation, your dad's like something crazy to your family, something crazy. But by you understanding their nature, you can still talk about them as them being your dad without feeling the type of way. You've created that sort of understanding of, he's my dad, you get me? Like the reason I'm here is because you get me, this guy done what he done. But at the same time, he's a human being, and that's his character, that's his traits, that's how he goes about living his life. Do you get me? At the end of the day, you can't judge no one, fam. You can't judge no one. Like, again, I was to say, if you believe in faith, you know everyone's gonna come meet their end. Everyone, like no one's gonna live forever. You get me? Physically, like a human body, you're not gonna live forever. And if you believe in heaven and hell, you believe that everyone's gonna, you get me, get what they deserve, rightly so. So you can only do what concerns you for yourself, and as much as possible help the people around you. So in that situation, it'll be a case of, you know what, I've deeped the situation, I see what it is. It's now just me and my mum. Like your dad's still there, you still have your dad, you can't change the fact. Like there's nothing on earth you can do that can change that guy from being your dad. Like he's always gonna be your dad. But you know, okay, cool. The people that I want to live life with, that's who you can control. The people that I'm gonna, you know, share feelings with, or you get me. They affect me, I affect them. You can control that. You get me? So, yeah, I think that's something that you can start thinking of. Is like, you know what? Thank God that, listen, at least you've got the insight. You've seen what you needed to see now to live the rest of your life. And again, I'd say if things can always change in 10 years' time, say you and your dad could be the closest of friends. You get me? Things can always change. But until things do change, you're gonna live your life knowing certain things. You get me? And then you use that to act a certain way. So again, thank God that, you get me, you've seen what you have to see, so you can now act the way you need to act. So that you, like, as you said, it could have been peak if you didn't know certain things. It could have been peak. You could have been caught out, and then you're sort of like looking at yourself like, bruv, like, how did I have no clue? Like, nothing. You feel like a little bit of like an idiot, like, right, I can't believe all this is going on and I didn't even see it. But now you do. You have the awareness in it, so you know what, or you can at least make plans on how you want to move forward. Do you get? But bruv, I said this to you when you first told me a little bit of it. I said, bro, a man, like, get me. I'm sure Nick will say the same thing, but man's here for you. For me, I'm saying, like, in regards of what I can do in my power, do you get me? If there's what I can do in my power to help anyone that's close to me, I'll do it. That's just how I am in it. But my message to you directly is, bro, you get me. You never need to ask for anything. If I've got it, you get me.
Yeah, because sometimes you can just feel like you're alone, obviously, because this is like, you know, you share the same roof with this person that you're going through with this. So it just feels like it's like a, you know, insular kind of family matter. It's like, wow, you know, especially because we live in a generation where it's like, they will say, don't go and say so-and-so. I'm like, only if you know that you can really trust this person, really and truly. You know what I mean?
Do you know, so funny?
I just feel like educating those at home, and nah, man's not gonna pretend on this pod and be like everything's all blessed and that.
You gotta keep it real.
I'd rather keep it real, and I won't feel no whole bars towards it, because I just feel like this is like me just speaking the truth, on speaking on my truth anyway. Yeah,
a man appreciates that still. A man appreciates that on a different. Did you have something, Jay?
I was gonna say when you said like it's not everything that you say to everyone. From literally the lawyer that I was with today, he's Nigerian, and he said this is a Nigerian saying. But obviously they say it in the Nigerian language, innit? One of the Nigerian languages. It basically says, it's funny when you think of, when you hear it, but when you actually the deeper meaning behind it, it makes sense. And it's basically the saying is like, it's not if you're going to the toilet, it's not everyone that you're gonna tell. You get me? So it's like the not pretty stuff that's happening in your life, so the sensitive stuff, the stuff that you get me really deep. It's not everyone that you share that type of information with. You get me? Because like we've all seen it, fam. It's not everyone that has your best interests at heart. And Nick's right. Until this, and for me, I've seen it not necessarily with me specifically, but with like things that's happened to my mom or my sister or stuff like that. I'm thinking, right, what family can really be that deep? And I always count myself kind of lucky that no one's ever tried to disrespect me directly. Like, I don't know what it is about me, but I don't come across people trying to disrespect me directly, intentionally. Like, I don't see it. Obviously, like, you have, like, school scuffles, but I don't count that. That's just life, you get me? But I'm talking about on a deeper level where, like, nah, this person's really trying to undermine me, underestimate me. On a deep level, I've never come across anyone trying to do me dirty, innit? And I just, again, have to thank God that, like, listen, there's some sort of covering in my life to get me that it's preventing things like that from happening. But you see it, because I see it happen to other people, I'm aware of it. And you're right, until it happens to you directly, you're gonna kind of feel our body definitely. Like, raw.
Really?
Can't believe this happened. You get me?
You know, it's kind of like, I won't say necessarily even ego. It's just more like, you would just feel like, oh wow, like I'm pretty sure I know the traits and I know like the characters and whatnot. So it's like I'm aware of it. But yeah, life is that thing.
It's family politics.
Like you said, man.
It's family politics.
Life is that thing.
And this is nuts, innit? This is nuts, and I hope everyone's following us. We're getting deep in it because that there, where it's like you think you know everyone's pattern. That is when you think you know everyone. That is when they got you. And I know it sounds mad because it's like, what do you mean they got you? Bro, listen. you can't think, no, I know exactly what Kofi's on. I know exactly what he's on. If I get into a position where I know, and this is just an example, if I get in a position where I know, no, I know exactly what these men are on, I'm in big trouble still. Because you'll do something that I didn't know you was on, and I'm sitting there like, oh shit, I didn't even know he was on that.
But
good or bad?
You know, I hear you. Do you know why? Because it's sort of like being a pessimist.
Yeah.
It's sort of like living life expecting people to not fuck you over, but something bad to happen, innit?
Yeah.
But it's more of like, nah, nigga, I'm trying to stay strapped.
Yeah, you got to, because you got to stay dangerous in the sense where it's like, nah, peoples is your peoples. Don't get me fucked up. Like, man, them is here for you, where it's family, close friends, all that stuff. Trust me, there's some real niggas out there that's gonna hold you down forever. Like, regardless.
But it's not everyone.
But it's not everybody. You get me? And then you got to sit there and you think, if you got 25 people that you think, nah, count on them. I'm going to be honest. There's probably about 4 or 5 that you probably can be real, and it's probably not the ones you think you can. Do you get it? So
sometimes you might feel like maybe experience will make you feel like it's a good judge of character, but
it's tough. It is tough. Like, listen, it is tough. Like, I'm not sitting there saying, listen, like, you got to put everyone through a fine tooth comb right now. Nah, but just pinch of salt, man. Pinch of salt. Listen, if you think you know that person, whether it be girl or guy, you're in trouble right now, and it's just stay dangerous, man.
Just have to be open, innit? And like, don't live in denial, fam.
Don't live in denial or fear.
You can see like clear traits of the way people are, but you, again, for family's sake or for friends' sake, you'd overlook it, thinking, nah, that they will never put me in that position until they put you in that position. And sometimes when that situation arises, it can make the bond stronger, it can make the relationship stronger. So sometimes you're like, you know, I remember that time we got into that madness. Yeah, fam, what was you thinking? But also, it can also go left, where you come out and like, listen, there's no going back.
Yeah.
You get me?
Exactly.
And for me, one of the situations that and when I was growing up, I never got it. I never understood it, where like my mum and Steven's mum, they're sisters and they're friends, but there's always this tension between this mad tension.
Yeah, you would never get it.
I never got it. I think, bro, you man are sisters. Like, what's well going? You get me? Sometimes you're a friend, sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're beefing. I never understood it. I was just thinking you like, bruv. But until you start being more aware of certain things that happen, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Now I see why my mum moves like that.
Yeah. And sometimes you might even feel like, wow, you're even moving way more gracious than I probably would have.
Yeah, if that happened to me,
yeah.
yeah.
But then I'm always in such like, right, good thing it didn't happen to me. That's why I think sometimes things don't happen, because I think sometimes man are just take it to the extreme. You get me? But like, fam, at the end of the day, it's mad because like every family's got politics. Every single family.
Everybody.
Like,
everyone.
I remember when like
no family is perfect.
Yeah, one of the earliest lessons I learned. I'm talking about like as a kid, like you don't even know life lessons. Like you don't even know that. But one thing that got drilled, my mum drilled this into me. Was like, don't ever look at someone else's life and you see, okay, they're having a good time and think their life is perfect, and then like, because you don't know the things they have to do to maintain that life or to access that life. You get me? On the outside, they could be, oh, everything's great. You go to their house, but when as soon as you're not there, because people only show you what you want to see. You're not there. Like, the only people you can know really is your immediate family that you live with.
Yeah.
And in your situation, sorry to touch about, in your situation, it's your mum, because that's who you live with day to day. And you got your dad there, but you ain't lived with him for long, so you can't really say you know him. You get me? It's like you wake up, like you can probably guess tomorrow what your mum's routine is going to be. From as soon as she wakes up, there's nothing that she's going to do that's going to catch you by surprise.
Like what headscarf she's gonna use.
You
get me? You know, you see Mumsy with her.
I know. Sometimes if I walk into my mum's room a certain time, she might have no clothes on. Fam.
I'm
gonna avoid that time.
I'll be back in a minute.
You get me? But there's like certain things you know, because you live in it. And this is the beautiful thing about life, is like, for us, it's about us finding someone that now we can join and then live that life with together, innit? And then that becomes your partner, moving forward. But in the topic of family, like, you only know the people that you live with on a day-to-day basis. And linking it back to the lesson I was learning is like, bruv, you're not in people's houses every day. You might go there for a brief second. Like, for example, when you get cousins come over, that's when the good cutlery comes out.
Yeah, good plates.
Bruv, real treat, they ain't there when bruv, my mom's 16, why are you still trying to make me eat from this plastic plate, bruv? And then when Steven's here, we get the glass plates. Like, you get me? All of these things where it's like, nah, but then you adjust your life to your reality. You get me? So, yeah, never look at someone else. Every family's got family politics for me. You just have to stay with someone long enough. You stay in a household that's not yours long enough, you go crazy, fam. You be like, nah, bro, I need my troubles, bro. I need I need my mum's stress that she gives me, bruv. This is some new stress, bruv.
New shape stress.
I'm not trying to get used to this. It's long, fam.
Yeah, 100%.
And yeah,
you only see the best parts. Like, there's only some households that I've been in where it's like, oh wow, like these are definitely not the best parts. I feel uncomfortable here. Should I leave? But then to them, it's like, no, this is just the stuff that we do normally.
Normal,
like this chandelier ain't even out like that. I only bring it around for you. Like, no, we need to put that back up. I'm on the ladder and shit. I'm trying to. Normally it's the bulb thing. You get me? When the man come around, I put that shit on.
You done. As soon as Jordy drives, man's taking. That's the last thing I take
this
down.
coming off, motherfucker. You feel me? Shit's different. Roll the carpet up. Shit, just
not even ask, bro.
I said, take this. Just bring stools out, bro.
Just bring the stools back out. This goes back in storage cost for the week.
We don't really have two TVs. One of them's rentals.
Nick said I rent it every Wednesday morning.
Yeah, man, that's a rental
from Fat Llama, fella.
Fat Llama thing. Motherfucker gonna pick that shit up tomorrow morning. I gotta be up. You know what I'm saying? Niggas don't know.
So the only thing that belongs in here, those 2.5 kg.
Without the bar as well.
Without the bar, man.